The trade deadline is officially over, and who are your biggest winners, and why are they the Washington Wizards? All right, before I get too deep in the video, I want to say a couple of things. First thing is, make sure you leave a like on the video if you are interested in the content dealing with the NBA, interested in content surrounding like trades, news around the NBA, big games, reactions, all that type of stuff. You're going to enjoy this video reacting to the trade deadline. If you enjoy all of that, you might as well subscribe to the channel because I've been making videos like that all season, not only for the NBA, but also the NFL and also college football. But also, I'm gonna be making plenty more videos like that as well. So go ahead, check my old videos out and stick around for my new ones. But that's all I got. Let's get back to the video. All right, so after the NBA trade deadline has come and gone, we've seen a bunch of big moves. We have seen a bunch of interesting trades, thought-provoking trades, lame trades, all types of stuff. So naturally, with stuff like that has happened, it's time to explore who the biggest winners and losers are of the trade deadline. Now, I want to say this. I really have to specify this. I am not the biggest fan of being so definite on the take this soon, right? Like after some of these trades go down, I believe trades take time to age, especially ones that include picks, especially ones that include a multitude of players. They take time to age. It could be over the course of a season. It could be over the course of years. It just depends on what the overall goal of the trade is. So I just want everybody to be mindful of that because I think that gets lost a lot of times when we talk about trades, especially a trade deadline. We can be very reactionary. But let's go ahead and get into these winners and losers. And my first winner, the Washington Wizards, guys. The Washington Wizards, and I really don't think I have to go really into much depth as to why the Washington Wizards are the biggest winners of the trade deadline, right? If you go to their trades, let's go to their trades. So obviously the Washington Wizards, it doesn't just start straight at the trade deadline. Let's dive into the first trade they made. So the first trade they made was really almost a month ago where they got Trae Young for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. This was a big trade, especially because you didn't really get much. I mean, you didn't really give up much. CJ McCollum wasn't, I can tell you right now, he wasn't really a fan favorite just because of how much he stagnated the ball and he kind of just took away from some of the development of other players. Corey Kispert was just cool. You know what I'm saying? He was just a casualty in the trade. But that's really not a lot to give up for an all-star talent like Trae Young, right? And here's the thing about Trae Young, right? I am aware of all the concerns of the defense, the injuries, somehow regress, some of the regression, the off-ball movement. I am aware of all of these things, right? But at the end of the day, Trae Young is a four-time All-Star, and when you only have to give up an expiring contract and an older C.J. McCollum and a Corey Kispert for a guy like Trae Young, I don't know who's not taking that trade. You have to take that trade, especially when you can see the future and potential and hope that a Trae Young can be developed, right? More to kind of change his skill set to where he's not as ball dominant, to where he doesn't have to rely with the he's not involved in the offense that's so reliant on what he can do with the ball in his hands. You know what I'm saying? Like if we can get a offense that can kind of just change that, make him more of a threat on the court in general, I think we'll be straight, bro. I honestly do think that this trade could really work out if we are able to do that. Because me seeing like Trae Young and like everything that Trae Young kind of has like not turned into, but like all of the skills that he has, I think it is possible. Now defensively, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see it. I would be very surprised to see how that works out. But that's why you have guys like a Keyshawn George, like an Alex Sarr, like an Anthony Davis, which you're going to get into next, to kind of just be around them, right, and supplement defensively, right? Speaking of that trade, boom, the Wizards land the Wizards land Anthony Davis in a 3-team deal. Charlotte got Malachi Branham, Dallas receives Chris Middleton, 2 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, a bunch of players. We got AD, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum. And yeah, so here's the thing about this trade when it comes to the Wizards. Like, this is another reason why I have the Wizards as one of my winners. I think it's undeniable that they are a winner of this trade deadline. They not only made a bunch of very impressive moves and got high-level stars, but they got it for little to nothing, bro. Like, they gave up for AD a bunch of expiring contracts. Yes, you're going to see all the first-round picks, which are going to be later in the draft, right? Like that Warriors pick in 2030. It's 4 years away. That might be a pretty good pick. Who knows? But that OKC Thunder pick, like next year, that's gonna be like a 30th round pick. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be a very heavy pick. And the fact that you were able to give up all the draft capital, you were able to buy low on these stars to shoot. If they don't play, man, they don't play, bro. We didn't give up shit for him. We gave up players for him that wasn't going to be in this team, that weren't going to be on this team very long anyway. And when the reward is getting a healthy Trae Young, and I'm not saying AD is going to be the most healthy guy, but a serviceable AD out there on the floor who can also serve as an influence to whoever we draft in this upcoming draft, and Alex Sarr and our young core with Trey Johnson as well. Man, bro, I am trying to tell you, this is a low risk, high reward, and that is the main thing I need people to understand, bro. These are some low risk, some high reward type of moves that the Wizards have made because now your roster looks completely different than what it did prior to. Like a roster with Bilal Coulibaly, Jaden Hardy, Cam Whitmore, Anthony Davis, Trae Young, Bub Carrington, Champagne, Trey Johnson, Sharif Cooper, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, and Will Riley. Man, that roster looks 10 times better than what they had to start the season. 10 times better. And I would assume like some changes to this coaching staff will come as well. But, bro, the Washington Wizards are up, bro. And I think now they're starting to realize that, hey, we've been tanking for so long. Really haven't seen that much success since Russ and Bradley Beal were here. We were sitting up here talking about whether or not Ish Smith should get minutes or whether he was deserving to get minutes. Bro, we are going to compete for the playoffs next year. A team that hasn't competed for the playoffs in God knows how long is going to be in the playoff hunt next year. That is commendable, and you didn't give a lot. You didn't give a lot up for that, right? So I think the Wizards are arguably probably the biggest winners of this entire trade deadline. Now, my next one is a trade deadline on a little bit of a lesser note. I'll say is the Utah Jazz. Now, Utah Jazz, they made a deal as well. One of the first, probably like the first big deal to really break out. They were able to get Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies. Utah got Jaren Jackson Jr., Jock Langdale, who ended up getting traded to the Atlanta Hawks, John Conchar, and Vince Williams III. Vince Williams Jr. And they gave up Walter Clayton Jr., who wasn't really playing, Kai Anderson, who was old, Taylor Hendricks, who wasn't getting no playtime either, George Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. Now, here's the thing about the Jazz, right? I will say they are a winner because I think this is a solid team to kind of help push you forward. Like, they're saying we're not going to tank no more. We're not going to do anything like that. We're going to move forward. And actually, let me start with the positives. You have a Jaren Jackson Jr. next to a guy like Walker Kessler. The defense on there will be very, very nice. And I think it's good to be able to be a team that's going to be like, yo, we're not just going to sit here and be stagnant no more. We want to move forward. We can't just sit here and be tanking and relying on these picks. No, we have an Ace Bailey. We have a Keontae George. Let's go get a Jaren Jackson Jr. and let's see if we can make some shake in the future. I think that is very impressive, bro. And I think if you're a Utah Jazz fan, you should like this trade for your team. I think you should like this trade for your team, honestly, bro. Now, I will say, I think and this is why it goes back to what I said earlier in the video, how successful this trade is dependent upon on how Keontae George ends up looking for, like, the next couple of seasons and what Ace Bailey ends up turning out to be. If Ace Bailey ends up being, like, some superstar 1A guy, because nobody's coming to Utah. Nobody is signing to Utah. Like, that's just not happening unless it's through a trade like Jaren Jackson Jr. or a draft, right? And that's why you go get a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. Because if Jaren Jackson would enter free agency, man, he's not going to say, I wonder what Salt Lake City, Utah is like. Nobody is doing that shit, bro. So, it's very dependent upon what Ace Bailey ends up developing into and Keontae George. Hopefully they can develop into some real guys and maybe even like the stars on that team. And Jaren Jackson Jr. just do what he's best at, which is defense and providing some level of stretch on the floor. But I really do like this trade for the Utah Jazz. And I like to see what Will Hardy can do with a legitimate roster, right? I think even though this year, like, they're 16-36, yeah, they're overly grits this year. Next year, though, I definitely see the potential. As you can see, they are 30th in opponents' points per game. I guarantee you, like Walter Kessler Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr., and whatever moves they make in the offseason, they could provide something for this team, provide some type of shift. And I didn't even think about Lauri Markkanen and whatever he can do for this team. So, yeah, bro, I think I have the Utah Jazz as another winner. Now, winner after Utah Jazz, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who made a very, albeit like a very, like, small trade, right? The trade really wasn't that big, but I think it's going to be very impactful to them. They got Ayo Dosunmu from the Bulls. If I can find the trade, they were able to get Ayo Dosunmu from the Bulls. Yeah. So the Timberwolves trade for Dosunmu from Bulls. They gave up Robert Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and a couple of second round picks for Ayo Dosunmu and Julian Phillips. And in in the year where guard play, especially in the NBA, on the trade deadline was very thin. It was very slim. It wasn't really a whole lot of guards who were available that teams like the Timberwolves were able to get, because the Timberwolves desperately need guard play. I mean, if you watch them play this year, like Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo, they're definitely doing their thing, but Rob Dillingham just hasn't panned out like how you would have liked for him to pan out. Um, uh, Bones Highland has been pretty decent this season. Mike Conley is clearly like he's just not the same type of guy like that he would have been in the past, like even 1-2 seasons ago. So they just need some guard play, and a guy like Ayo Dosunmu, like who provides like some nice 3-and-D, kind of a lot of things that Nickeil Alexander-Walker provided for them. Right? They got him back they get him on the team. And it's kind of just right for the Timberwolves, who have also been, I think they've been on like a decent little like I think they've been on a decent little streak recently or something like that. Yeah, like they won the 4 game win streak, lost to Memphis, beat Toronto, lost to the Pelicans last night. So they've been doing their own little thing or whatever. But I think this will really help them. I think this trade will really help them alleviate some of that pressure off of Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels and all those guys over there, right? I will say I think there are some more moves the Timberwolves could make, in my opinion, to get this roster better. But hey, end of the day, I am very confident in the Timberwolves' ability to be able to go far in the playoffs. They've made the conference finals, 2 years in a row? I think they can do it again. Next, winner of the trade deadline, none other than the Charlotte Hornets, just because I feel like even though they didn't make a lot of trades, they made one trade for Kobe White. And the trade actually, like, something had happened in the trade, too, to where, like, Kobe White's physical kind of came back, kind of weird, right? So the Hornets end up getting Kobe White from the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls get Ousmane Dieng and Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton, he had played a little bit in Charlotte, but I think it was clear that his fit just really wasn't all of that in Charlotte because, I mean, point blank, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. He just really wasn't good enough. Like, when you're dealing with a guy like LaMelo, dealing with a guy like Con Knuckle, and all the guys that they have in Charlotte, he just really wasn't sticking out over there in Charlotte. And nobody really wants like any of the other guys on that roster, like a Trey Mann or nobody like that. So he was bound to get dealt, and he is going to be on the Bulls. And the Hornets end up releasing Mike Conley, and Mike Conley is going to go back to the Timberwolves actually. But I think the get of Kobe White is going to be really well for this Hornets team, and who knows what he can put, even though he is young himself, what him and Melo could do, or what he could put in the ear of a Con Knuckle, right? Boom. Next biggest winner, Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland Cavaliers actually start off this trade deadline pretty like significant. They made a nice little deal. They got Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and Emmanuel Miller for Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks. Sacramento received DeAndre Hunter. This is a phenomenal trade for the Cavs because DeAndre Hunter had been struggling all season. Like, a lot of things that you just remembered about DeAndre Hunter, like, he just really was not doing on the Cavs. He really wasn't providing much value, especially because, man, I don't cap. When he got traded to Cleveland, bro, I thought they had made the move of the century. I thought this was a steal. Like, you can go back and watch my video. I'm on my video reacting to it, bro. I thought they had it in the bag. I was very wrong. Can I be honest? I was very wrong, right? But now you get a guy like Keon Ellis, who a lot of teams were trying to like offer first round picks and everything like that for. So I'm not saying Keon Ellis is going to be able to be some like game changer in Cleveland, but at least he's going to get opportunity, right? Because like when he was in Sacramento, he didn't get any opportunity. A lot, he was getting benched a lot and all these different types of things, and we just know based off his skill set that he was garnering some attention. So hopefully, like, it works out for him. But we can only see. But I think bare minimum, even if that doesn't work out, you get Dennis Schroeder, who is a guy who provides some very, when I say some very, I mean some very needed backup guard play over there in Cleveland. I'm very tired of seeing Donovan Mitchell. If Donovan Mitchell not on that goddamn floor, then the Cavs look like they SOL. I think Dennis Schroeder provides some toughness that this team needs, because boy do they need some toughness. He provides some grit, and he provides some nice things that he can play off of Donovan Mitchell, compliment Donovan Mitchell And the other guard that they got this trade deadline, who is none other than James Harden. The Cavs added James Harden in a blockbuster deal. They traded away Darius Garland in the second round pick for James Harden. A little 1-for-1. The second round pick, no one really cares about second round pick. And I think it's a great trade for the Cavs. A lot of people, when this trade dropped, right, a lot of people were pointing to the Cavs just traded a 26-year-old for a 36-year-old. Like, what are they doing? This is a very dumb deal. Here's why it's not a dumb deal. And here's why I have the Cavs as a winner. Because we knew after last year that the Cavs were going to have to look in the mirror. And they said they were probably going to do it after this year. But, I mean, at this point through the season, the Cavs have been struggling, and they have not been the top-seeded team in the East that they were last year. You know, I think they were in like 64 games last year or something like that. They have not been that, right? So, we were like, yeah, Cleveland, I think y'all might need to press the button early. And it was clear that the Cavs are trying to win the championship soon. Like, whether it be this year or next year or the year after that, they're trying to win the championship soon. And Darius Garland, yeah, he's 26, but man, they ain't really worried about no youth now. They got Evan Mobley. Worst case scenario, if everything falls down, they have Evan Mobley. So you trade away Darius Garland, who, like, really James Harden is better than, and James Harden is healthier than. So you got the guard who's better and healthier and can help you guys get to the playoffs. How the playoff goes, we don't really know. Like, James Harden has had some questionable performances in the playoffs, but shit, so has Darius Garland. Darius Garland has not been on anything in the playoffs at all. So, like, for people to sit up here and use the age thing, that's cool, but, like, Darius Garland is constantly injured. When he gets in the playoffs, he isn't playing all too well. And you got a guy who's older but is going to be available in the playoff. He fits the timeline of Cleveland's little win now thing. And he's going to be able to help them win, right? And Donovan Mitchell has already kind of like, he hasn't signed an extension yet, which is kind of like scary if you're a Cavs fan, and probably for the Cavs front office as well. And hopefully a deal like this where you're getting a James Harden can help you re-sign Donovan Mitchell. Because, I mean, I think every Cavs fan would like to say will want Donovan Mitchell back on that team. He's been the best player on the team all season for a couple of seasons, and he's been one of the best in the NBA. And you don't just want to lose a guy like that, right? You at least, a trade like this gives you a fighting chance, you know what I'm saying, to keep a Donovan Mitchell. And, I think that's what you would want, right, as a Cavs fan. So, this is why the Cavs, I think both of the moves they made, James Harden, dang, where's bro at? James Harden and Dennis Schroeder, very great pickups. We'll see what Keon Ellis can provide from them boys. But, yeah, bro, I really like what the Cavs did this trade deadline. All right. Now for the losers. The Dallas Mavericks. Now, here's the thing about Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks are not huge losers. And here's why. Nico Harrison completely F this team over. When he makes that trade, trading away Luka, and gets absolutely nothing for it, he F the team over. And the way he moved about it afterwards was horrendous. I'm going to be honest. And the trade for AD objectively is a pretty bad trade for the Dallas Mavericks. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I can't say they're huge losers because as a team that the new GM who inherited a team, or whoever the new executive is, inherited a team that was just like so like, bleh. It just was not really that good of a team. And with that being like a lackluster team, you have a Cooper Flag, true. He was trying to clean up some of the mess that Nico made, bro. And AD, who unfortunately did get very injury riddled, which was known beforehand, and Nico still traded for him. You just had to take what you can get from AD. Let's just get AD off the books. Let's take what we can get for him. Let's get some expiring contracts. Maybe we got to buy him out. Whatever we have to do so we can try to fully build a team around Cooper Flag, which is what I think they are trying to do with a trade like that. So seeing them trade away Anthony Davis and what they got for him, yes, it was pretty sad. And it is kind of sad that Dallas Mavericks are at that point to where, like, dang, like, they have to make a move like that. And Anthony Davis's value was that low. And they kind of, they only had AD for one season. And now you have Kyrie, who's going to be coming off an ACL injury as well. He's going to have to sit up here and, like, be kind of what Luka was, unless Cooper takes a step, which Cooper has looked pretty nice, like, over the past couple of games. But I can't say Dallas are huge losers. I think it's all about cleanup now. They're just trying to clean up what Nico left behind, because Nico really set this team back a couple of seasons. Literally turned the franchise on their head. So I think they are honestly not so much of losers as everybody else would like to say. Next team I want to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies. Now I don't think the Memphis Grizzlies are losers. Truth be told, actually, I just had them late as hell in the thing, but y'all don't mind. Y'all ain't gonna mind me having them like a little later. I don't think they're losers. I mean, I kind of do think they're losers actually, because they didn't get off of Ja Morant. It's kind of like with the AD situation. You traded away Jaren Jackson Jr. because you had a lot of value for Jaren Jackson Jr. And maybe Ja Morant gets traded in the off season, right? And to be fair, I do like some of the players they got back for Jaren Jackson, like a Walter Clayton Jr. I think he can provide something for them. But like, I would have loved to just see them just be like, look, Ja, we just gonna go ahead and get you up off the team. We just gonna get you up off the team, bro. We're gonna try to find you somewhere to go, even if it's like little to nothing. Man, we just gonna get you off the team. And maybe like another team is making like a higher offer in the off season, but I think like not getting off of him right now, especially everything that has gone on, it's just kind of a loss, right? And I also think Ty Jerome is another guy that they need to look at moving, especially if they want to move towards a little rebuild around Cedric Howard and all these other guys. Just my opinion, right? Now, probably be the biggest losers from the trade deadline, the Chicago Bulls. Why are the Chicago Bulls such big losers? Let me share their roster. Let's go to position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Eight guards on this roster. They made a bunch of trades. A bunch of trades. And they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, 5 guards in these trades. The guards they got, you could look at them and be like, yeah, maybe they can develop into something, right? Rob Dillingham, he's had his struggles. Colin Sexton probably is not going to develop anything. Anthony Simons has shown some potential. Jaden Ivey for sure. But you can't really develop these guys if you got 1,000 guards. Like, that's just like an overflow of talent. You have an overflow of talent, and none of these trades really made sense. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was watching the numbers on the board, and Kenny said a really good point of like, the sneaky way to have a bad team is to just have a bunch of guards and not really a whole lot of bigs, which, I mean, they have not a lot of bigs. So, like, maybe they are trying to, like, lean into this whole, like, yeah, we're just going to be ass thing. But, god damn, all these damn guards is insane. Having all these guards is insane, especially when I think like they just kind of sat on their assets for too long, whether it be a Vucevic. Even though Anthony Simons is a good return for Vucevic at this point, but whether it be a Vooch, whether it be a Kobe White, they just sat on their assets for way too long. And it's very underwhelming, right? And I mean, I feel like we talk about the Bulls as a loser every year, but they are generally just a loser. Like their front office and all of them, they just put the Bulls in such a horrible position. They're just losers. They're just losers. So yeah, Chicago Bulls are my next loser. My next loser, the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, because like, why the fuck would you put us through all of that bullshit with Giannis, bro? I really have been done talking about the Giannis thing for a while, but I just feel like, man, you put us through all the BS with Giannis and doing all this teasing about Giannis just the last minute say, yeah, we're just going to keep him. Man, you should have just said some shit like that before the trade deadline so you could just know how to move forward. And it looks like the Bucks are still going to be in a position where they just simply don't know how to move forward. Maybe, because, yeah, Doc is the head coach's team. Maybe Doc Rivers gets canned in the offseason and, they get a new coach. And maybe that's able to unlock the roster, but I don't think you're going to be able to build any type of contender at this. If you do, it's not going to be in time for Giannis. Giannis is going in the back half of his prime. He's 31 years old, and I don't know what players you can realistically get, and how you can realistically build a title contender around this team within the next like 2 to 3 years. Especially with Giannis already starting to deal with injuries. I just don't see it. I just don't see it at all. And yeah, man. Yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, they're losers to me, bro. They're big losers. My next biggest loser, the Golden State Warriors. Here's why. It's just the way they've handled everything, bro. You get off of Jonathan Kuminga, thank God. Finally, you get off Jonathan Kuminga, but you get Kristaps Porzingis, man. You just got a guy who literally cannot provide you anything, who is known for being like very injury riddled. yeah, man. I can't say like even if I was the Warriors fan, I was too happy with this, but I think with all the moves that they've made, Kristaps Porzingis, who's been very injured, he's only played 17 games throughout the season. He's very slow. He's not going to fit within the system that Steve Kerr is still trying to strong will in Golden State. I just don't like that move. I just feel like you kind of just lost Jonathan Kuminga for really nothing. You sat on the asset for too long. Same thing with Draymond Green. They were talking about, oh, we might move Draymond Green. You sat on the asset for too long. Nobody want to trade for fucking Draymond Green. Draymond Green is not that good. Um, so yeah, the Warriors they're just a loser, bro. They ain't been on nothing, man. And this is kind of sad to see, bro. But yeah, and my last losers are none other than the LA Clippers. Now the LA Clippers, I think they're having a fire sale, but I just think the way they're going about doing it is so wrong, man. I mean, you're finally, you get Bending Mathurin, but you trade away James Harden, you trade away Zubac, which I really didn't understand, and like it seemed like cool. You're having a fire sale, but I just don't get what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're trying to get all these guys off their books, or maybe that Rico about to hit their ass soon. But right now, I'm just very confused with what the Clippers got going on. I feel like they gave up a lot. They didn't really get a lot back for it. I just don't really. I can't really say I love any of the moves for the Clippers that they made outside of Darius Garland. And even Darius Garland, I'm kind of shaky on because of his injury history. But if you're gonna clear your books, if you're gonna clear your books and try to rebuild, then cool. But I don't know if they want to rebuild or if they are trying to just see how they can go back into contention. I don't know, bro. But that is my final loser of the video. These are my winners and losers for the NBA trade deadline. I would like to reiterate a lot of these trades we're going to see in the future how they play out, who's a real winner, who's the real loser. So, I mean, this is just some quick reactions, right? Nothing really too major. But, yeah, man. That's all I got. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And until next time, peace.